The rain was coming down so hard, I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me, but I didn't care. I just kept running. My lungs were burning. My bare feet were bleeding from the broken glass I'd stepped on back at the apartment, and I could still taste blood from where she'd hit me. But I kept running because going back meant dying. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. I heard her screaming behind me somewhere in the distance. "Zara, you ungrateful little witch, get back here. I brought you into this world." I ran faster. I didn't see the car until the headlights blinded me. I heard the screech of brakes, felt the impact, and then I was on the ground. The world was spinning. The rain kept falling on my face, mixing with my tears, and for a second, I thought maybe this was it. Maybe this was how my story ended. 23 years of hell, and it ends on a wet street in Seattle. Then I heard his voice. "Are you insane? Do you have any idea how much this car costs?" I opened my eyes and saw him standing over me. Tall, dark hair, slicked back, wearing a suit that probably cost more than everything I'd ever owned in my life. He was furious, his jaw clenched tight, and then he really looked at me. His expression changed completely. "You're bleeding," he said, and his voice was different now, quieter. "Welcome back to my channel, and before we continue with Zara's story, I need you to do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button and smash the like icon, because this story is going to take you on an emotional roller coaster about breaking free from toxic family, finding unexpected love, and discovering that sometimes the person who saves you needs saving too. If you're new here, subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Now let's get back to the story, because what happens next will shock you. "I'm fine," I whispered, trying to get up. Everything hurt. "You're not fine. Don't move." He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling an ambulance." "No!" I grabbed his wrist without thinking. "Please, no hospitals. No police. Please." He stared at me, and I saw something shift in his dark eyes. Recognition, maybe, or understanding. He crouched down beside me, and I flinched. He noticed. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said carefully. "But you need medical attention. I have a private doctor. Will you let me take you there?" I should have said no. I should have run again. But I was so tired, and his voice was so calm, and I just nodded. He helped me into the back of his Mercedes. The seats were leather and smelled expensive. I was getting blood on them. I started crying harder. "I'm sorry about your car," I managed to say. He looked at me through the rearview mirror. "The car doesn't matter." 20 minutes later, I was in a medical office that looked nothing like any clinic I'd ever been to. The doctor was a small Korean woman who asked me questions in accented English while she cleaned my wounds. The man who'd hit me sat in the corner, watching everything with an intensity that should have scared me, but somehow didn't. "These bruises," the doctor said, touching my ribs gently. "They're not from the car accident. Some are days old, some are weeks old." I didn't say anything. "Who did this to you?" the man asked from the corner. "It doesn't matter. It matters to me." I looked at him then. "Why? You don't even know me. I ran into your car. You should be angry." "I was angry," he said, "for about 5 seconds. Then I saw your face." He stood up and walked closer. "My name is Kang Jae-hoon. I own KJ Global Enterprises, and I'm going to ask you one question. Do you have somewhere safe to go tonight?" I thought about the apartment with my mother, passed out drunk by now, or maybe still raging through the rooms looking for me. I thought about the shelters that were always full. I thought about sleeping on the street in the rain. "No," I whispered. "Then you're coming home with me." I must have fallen asleep in the car, because the next thing I knew, Jae-hoon was gently shaking my shoulder. "We're here." Here was the most incredible building I'd ever seen. Glass and steel reaching up into the night sky. The penthouse was on the top floor. When the elevator doors opened directly into his apartment, I forgot how to breathe. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. Everything was modern and expensive and absolutely spotless. I was still in my wet, torn clothes, tracking water and probably blood across his pristine floors. "The guest room is this way," he said, not seeming to notice or care about the mess. The guest room was bigger than the entire apartment I'd shared with my mother. The bed looked like something from a hotel magazine. "There are clothes in the closet that should fit you. My head of security, Mrs. Choi, keeps spares here for emergencies. Bathroom is through that door. Take a shower, get some rest. We'll talk in the morning." He started to leave, then stopped at the door. "Lock this if it makes you feel safer," he said. "But I need you to understand something. You're safe here. I don't hurt women. I don't hurt anyone, okay?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. After he left, I did lock the door. Then I stood in the shower for 40 minutes, watching the water run pink with blood, then clear. I found a t-shirt and sweatpants in the closet. They smelled like expensive detergent. I curled up in the massive bed and cried until I finally fell asleep. Morning came too fast. I woke up to sunlight streaming through windows I'd forgotten to cover and panic hitting me all at once. Where was I? What had I done? Then I remembered. The car, Jihoon, the penthouse. I found him in the kitchen, wearing different clothes, but looking just as intimidating in casual black pants and a white button-up shirt. He was making coffee. "Sit," he said, gesturing to the breakfast bar. I sat. He put a cup of coffee in front of me and a plate, with toast and eggs. I stared at it. "You need to eat," he said. "Why are you doing this?" He sat down across from me with his own coffee. "That's what I want to know. Who are you running from?" "My mother." His eyebrows rose slightly. "Your mother did that to you." "She's not well. She's been addicted to pills and alcohol since I was 10. Sometimes she gets angry. Last night, she got really angry because I told her I was taking a second job and wouldn't be home to clean up after her. So you ran." "So I ran." I took a sip of coffee. It was perfect. "I've run before. I always go back. I don't have anywhere else to go." Jihoon was quiet for a long moment, studying me with those intense dark eyes. "How old are you?" 23. "Education?" "I finished high school. Couldn't afford college. I worked 2 jobs, a diner during the day and cleaning offices at night." "Languages?" I blinked at the odd question. "English and French. My dad was from Cameroon. He taught me before he died when I was 8. Jihoon nodded slowly, like I'd just confirmed something. "Stay here today. Rest. Tomorrow, we'll figure out next steps." "I can't just stay here. I don't even know you." "Then get to know me." He stood up. "I have to go to my office. Mrs. Choi will be here in an hour. She'll make sure you have everything you need. Don't leave, please." The please surprised me. Mrs. Choi turned out to be a tiny Korean woman in her 50s, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. She looked me up and down when she arrived, and I could see the suspicion all over her face. "So you're the girl," she said in English that was better than Jihoon's. "I'm Zara. I know who you are. Mr. Kang told me everything." She set down bags of what looked like clothes. "He wants you comfortable. I brought options." "Why is he doing this?" I asked. "Why does he care?" Mrs. Choi's expression softened slightly. "That's not my story to tell. But Mr. Kang is a good man. Difficult, demanding, sometimes cold, but good. If he's helping you, he has his reasons." She left me alone after that, and I spent the day in a daze, still not quite believing this was real. I kept expecting to wake up back in that apartment with my mother shaking me awake to scream about something I'd done wrong. When Jihoon came home that evening, he looked exhausted. He loosened his tie as he walked in and seemed almost surprised to see me curled up on his couch, reading a book I'd found on his shelf. "You stayed," he said. "You asked me to. I need to tell you something. I had my security team look into your situation today. I hope that doesn't upset you, but I needed to understand what we're dealing with." My stomach dropped. "What did you find?" "Your mother has 3 assault charges from various landlords and neighbors. She's been evicted 6 times in the last 5 years, and there's a warrant out for her arrest for shoplifting." He sat down in the chair across from me. "Zara, you can't go back there. It's not safe. I don't have a choice." "You do now. I'm offering you a job." I stared at him. "What?" "My personal assistant quit last week. The position pays $60,000 a year, plus benefits. You'd work directly for me, manage my schedule, handle correspondence, travel with me to meetings. It's demanding work, but you strike me as someone who's not afraid of hard work." "You can't be serious." "I'm always serious. Think about it. You'd have income, benefits, health insurance. I'd help you find a safe place to live. You'd never have to go back to that apartment." "Why?" I whispered. "Why would you do this for a complete stranger?" "Because 5 years ago, I didn't help someone who needed it. Someone died because I was too busy, too focused on my company, too blind to see what was happening right in front of me. I won't make that mistake again." I said yes. The next morning, Jihoon took me to his company headquarters. KJ Global Enterprises was a massive building downtown, all glass and steel, and bustling with people in expensive suits. Everyone stared as Jihoon walked me through the lobby, his hand on my lower back, guiding me. We stopped at a desk where a beautiful Korean woman with perfect makeup looked up and froze. "Mr. Kang," she said, standing quickly. "Mina, this is Zara Williams. She's my new personal assistant. I need you to get her set up with ID, computer access, and an office adjacent to mine. Today." Mina's eyes flickered over me, taking in my borrowed clothes, my still healing face, and I saw the judgment there. But she smiled professionally. "Of course, Mr. Kang, right away." The first week was brutal. Jihoon wasn't kidding when he said the work was demanding. He had me managing his calendar, screening calls, preparing briefing documents, and sitting in on meetings where I barely understood half of what was being discussed. He was harder on me than anyone else, correcting every mistake, pushing me to work faster, think smarter. But late at night, when everyone else had gone home and we were still in his office, he was different, gentler. He'd order us dinner and we'd eat together while going over the next day's schedule, and sometimes we'd talk about things that had nothing to do with work. "Your French is better than my English," he admitted one night. "I learned English in boarding school, but I still think in Korean." "Your English is perfect." "It's efficient, not perfect." He looked at me over his takeout container. "Are you settling in okay? The apartment I arranged for you, is it acceptable?" The apartment he'd arranged was a beautiful 1-bedroom in a safe building with a doorman. It was paradise compared to where I'd come from. "It's more than acceptable. It's too much. It's what you deserve." Everything changed the day my mother showed up. I was in Jihoon's office going over contracts when his secretary buzzed through, sounding panicked. "Mr. Kang, there's a woman in the EO lobby causing a scene. Security is handling it, but she's asking for Zara Williams." My blood went cold. Jihoon looked at me. "Is it her?" I nodded, unable to speak. "Bring up the security footage," he said into the phone. Seconds later, his computer screen showed the lobby. And there she was, my mother, screaming at security guards, knocking over plants, her face twisted with rage. "That's my daughter. She stole from me. She owes me. You tell that girl to get down here right now." I stood up, shaking. "I have to go. I have to talk to her, or she'll never stop." "No." Jihoon stood too. "You're not going anywhere near her. You don't understand. She'll make this worse. She'll come back every day. She'll destroy your reputation." "I don't care about my reputation." "But I do. I was crying now. Everyone here already thinks I'm your charity case. They whisper about me. They think I slept with you to get this job. If they see her, if they know where I come from, it'll be so much worse. Jahoon's expression hardened. He picked up his phone. Security, escort that woman out and tell her if she returns, we'll have her arrested for trespassing. Then call the police and report the disturbance. He hung up and turned to me. She will not ruin what you're building here. Do you understand me? I collapsed back into my chair, and he knelt in front of me, his hands on my knees. Listen to me, he said quietly. I don't care what anyone in this building thinks. I don't care about gossip. I care about you being safe. That's all that matters. And that's when I realized I was in love with him. The weeks that followed were complicated. My mother kept trying to contact me through different phone numbers, leaving voicemails that ranged from apologetic to threatening. Jahoon had his lawyers send a cease and desist letter. That bought us some peace, but I could feel the tension building. Meanwhile, something was shifting between Jahoon and me. The way he looked at me had changed. Sometimes I'd catch him staring at me during meetings. And when our hands accidentally touched passing papers, neither of us pulled away as quickly as we should have. Then came the gala. I need a date for the Children's Hospital Charity Gala next week, Jahoon announced one morning. Will you come with me? As your assistant? As my guest, my heart stuttered. Jahoon, people will talk. Let them talk. Will you come? I don't have anything to wear to something like that. We'll fix that. He took me shopping that weekend. Actually took me himself, not his secretary or Mrs. Choi. We went to boutiques where the dresses cost more than I used to make in 6 months. He sat patiently while I tried on option after option, giving his opinion on each one. The dress we chose was midnight blue, elegant and simple, and when I came out of the dressing room wearing it, Jahoon went very still. That's the one, he said, his voice rough. The saleswoman boxed it up along, with shoes and a clutch, and Jahoon paid without even looking at the total. As we were leaving, he stopped me. There's one more thing. He led me to the jewelry counter and pointed to a delicate diamond necklace. Jahoon, no, that's too much. It's perfect with the dress. He bought it before I could argue further. Outside the store, he opened the box. Turn around. I turned, and he fastened the necklace around my neck. His fingers brushed against my skin, and I shivered. He didn't step away immediately. Zara, he said softly, close to my ear. You should know that this is becoming very difficult for me. What is? Pretending I'm not completely captivated by you. I turned to face him, my heart pounding. Then why are you pretending? Because you work for me. Because you're vulnerable and I'm in a position of power. Because if I kiss you right now the way I want to, I'll be taking advantage of everything you've been through. What if I want you to kiss me? His eyes darkened. Don't say that unless you mean it. I mean it. For a moment, I thought he would. He leaned in slightly, his hand coming up to cup my face. But then he stopped, his jaw clenching. Not yet, he whispered. Not like this. You deserve better than a parking lot. The night of the gala, I barely recognized myself in the mirror. The dress fit perfectly. The necklace sparkled at my throat. And someone from the salon had done my hair and makeup. When Jahoon picked me up, his reaction made every moment of preparation worth it. He stared at me for a full 10 seconds before speaking. You're beautiful. You clean up pretty well yourself. He did. The tuxedo fit him like it had been made for him, which it probably had. The gala was overwhelming. Hundreds of wealthy people in a ballroom that looked like something from a fairy tale. Jahoon kept his hand on my back all night, introducing me to people as his assistant, but looking at me like I was so much more. Then she arrived. I noticed her the moment she walked in. Tall, gorgeous, wearing a red dress that probably cost more than my monthly salary. She made a beeline straight for us. "Jihoon," she purred. "It's been too long." "Yuna," he said coolly. "I didn't know you'd be here." "My father's company is a major sponsor. Of course I'm here." Her eyes slid to me. "And who is this? Don't tell me you're actually dating your help now." "Yuna, this is Zara Williams." "Zara, this is Yuna Park. Her family owns Park Industries. We used to be engaged." My stomach dropped. Yuna's smile was vicious. "Used to be is right, until I realized Jihoon here is married to his company. But it looks like he's found someone new to ignore." She looked me up and down. "Tell me, dear, does he make you work on date nights too? Or are you working right now and just don't realize it?" "That's enough," Jihoon said sharply. "Oh, I'm just getting started. Everyone here is wondering the same thing. Who is this random girl you Aogi brought? Where did you find her? What could she possibly offer someone like you?" "She offers something you never could," Jihoon said, his voice like ice. "Genuine kindness and integrity. The courage to survive things you couldn't imagine. And she's 10 times the person you ever were." The room had gone quiet around us. People were staring. Yuna's face flushed with anger. "You'll regret this, Jihoon. Both of you will." She stormed off, and Jihoon turned to me. "I'm sorry. Are you okay? Everyone's staring. Let them stare. Dance with me." He led me onto the dance floor, and suddenly nothing else mattered. His hand on my waist, my hand in his, moving together to the music. "Thank you," I whispered, "for defending me." "Always," he said. "I'll always defend you." When he looked at me right then, I saw everything he wasn't saying. And I knew, whatever happened next, we'd crossed a line we couldn't uncross. In the car ride home, tension filled the air between us. Neither of us spoke, but I could feel his eyes on me every time we stopped at a red light. When we got back to his penthouse, he'd started taking me there after late work nights instead of my apartment. He poured us both a drink. Whiskey, neat. We stood by the windows looking out at the city lights. "I need to tell you something," he said finally. "What I said earlier about pretending. I can't do it anymore, Zara. These past 2 months, watching you grow stronger every day, watching you take on this job with everything you have, being near you constantly. It's driving me insane. Jihoon, I know it's inappropriate. I know there are 1,000 reasons why this is a terrible idea. You work for me. You're still healing. My family would have a fit. But I'm falling in love with you, and I don't know how to stop." I set down my glass and walked over to him. "Then don't stop." This time, he didn't pull away when I reached up to touch his face. This time when he leaned down, he didn't stop. He kissed me like he'd been dying to, like I was oxygen, and he'd been drowning. I kissed him back with everything I had, every bit of feeling I'd been holding inside. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to mine. "This changes everything," he whispered. "I know. My family will fight this. The company will gossip. Yuna will try to destroy us. I know. Are you sure you want this? Want me?" I pulled back to look him in the eyes. I've never been more sure of anything. He kissed me again, softer, and I felt something inside me that had been broken for years start to heal. We had 3 beautiful days before everything fell apart. 3 days of stolen kisses in his office after everyone went home. 3 days of falling asleep in his arms and waking up to his smile. 3 days of feeling like maybe, just maybe, I deserved something good. Then the articles hit. Someone, and we both knew it was Yuna, had leaked photos of us at the gala and spun a story about how Billionaire CEO Kang Jihoon was taking advantage of a vulnerable employee. The headlines were vicious. Rich CEO's charity case turned mistress. Power imbalance or true love. From homeless to his bed, The Zara Williams story. My phone exploded with calls from reporters. The company was flooded with press. And worst of all, the board called an emergency meeting. I sat outside Jahoon's office while he met with them, my hands shaking. Mrs. Choi sat beside me, her face grim. "They're going to make him fire me," I said. "Mr. Kang doesn't bend to pressure." "He will this time. I'm destroying everything he's built." The door opened and Jahoon came out, his face like stone. "Zara, come with me." We went to his private office and he closed the door. "The board wants you gone," he said. "They're threatening to call a vote of no confidence in my leadership if I don't terminate your employment." "Then fire me." "What?" "Fire me, Jahoon. Save your company. This is everything you've worked for." "You think I care more about this company than I care about you?" "You should. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. You're brilliant and successful, and you've built an empire. Don't throw it away for me." He grabbed my shoulders. "You are not nothing. Do you hear me? You're everything. And I told the board if they force me to choose between you and this company, I choose you. Every single time." I started crying. "You can't do that." "I already did." That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in Jahoon's bed, listening to him breathe, watching the city lights play across the ceiling, and all I could think about was how I was ruining his life. He'd given up so much for me already. His company was in chaos. His board was rebelling. And then there was his family. He told me they'd called him in for a meeting tomorrow. His father, his older brother, demanding to meet the girl who was causing such problems. I knew how that would go. They'd see me and wonder what their perfect son could possibly see in someone like me. Someone broken with nothing to offer. I made my decision around 3 a.m. I slipped out of bed carefully, making sure not to wake him. I wrote him a letter, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the pen. "Jahoon, I love you. That's why I'm leaving. You deserve someone who adds to your life, not someone who tears it down. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for showing me what real love looks like. I'll never forget you. Please don't look for me. Be happy. That's all I want for you, Zara." I left it on the pillow beside him and walked out of the penthouse with nothing but the clothes on my back. I didn't know where I was going. I couldn't go back to my old apartment. My mother was out on bail now and probably still furious. I couldn't go to any friends because I didn't have any. So I just walked. By sunrise, I'd made it to a park. I sat on a bench and watched the sky turn pink and orange and tried not to think about Jahoon waking up and finding me gone. My phone had been buzzing constantly, his name lighting up the screen over and over. I turned it off. That's when I heard her voice. Well, look what the cat dragged in." I looked up and my blood turned to ice. My mother stood there with 2 men I didn't recognize. She looked worse than I remembered, thinner, her eyes wild. "Did you really think you could hide from me, baby girl? Did you think your rich boyfriend could protect you forever?" "Mom, please, just leave me alone." "Leave you alone? After what you did, you got me arrested, Zara. Me, your own mother. They took me to jail because of you. You hit me. You've been hitting me for years. I gave you everything." She lunged forward and grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. "You owe me. That fancy family of his gave me money to take you back, and I'm collecting." Terror shot through me. "What? Oh, he didn't tell you? His daddy came to see me, offered me $50,000 to take you off their hands and make sure you never contact Jahoon again. I took the money, but you know what? I'm still going to make you pay for what you did to me." She dragged me back to the apartment, the same apartment I'd run from weeks ago. She locked me in my old room, the same room I'd spent my teenage years in, and I heard her on the phone outside the door. "Yeah, I got her. No, she's not going anywhere. You want to come see what your son was wasting his time on?" I pounded on the door until my hands were bloody. I screamed until my voice gave out, and then I just curled up in the corner and cried. Hours passed, maybe a whole day. I lost track of time. She'd come in occasionally to yell at me, to remind me how worthless I was, sometimes to hit me, just like old times. I wondered if this was how my story would end after all, if I'd just had a brief moment of light before falling back into darkness. Then I heard the crash. The apartment door burst open with a bang that shook the walls. I heard my mother screaming, heard other voices, and then the door to my room splintered as someone kicked it in. Jihoon stood there, and he looked terrifying. His suit was disheveled, his hair a mess, his eyes wild. When he saw me huddled in the corner, something broke in his expression. "Zara," he breathed. He crossed the room in 2 strides and dropped to his knees beside me, his hands shaking as he touched my face. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm so sorry." "Shh, it's okay. I've got you. You're safe now." He picked me up like I weighed nothing and carried me out. My mother was screaming somewhere, but I saw Mrs. Choi blocking her path and 2 security guards holding her back. There were also 2 police officers. "Mr. Kang," one of them said, "we'll need her statement." "She'll give it from the hospital," Jihoon said, not stopping. "Arrest that woman for assault, kidnapping, and extortion." He carried me all the way to his car and held me in the back seat while his driver rushed us to the hospital. I kept trying to apologize, to explain, but he just held me tighter. "Don't," he said roughly. "Just don't. I thought I'd lost you. When I woke up and you were gone, when I read that letter, I've never been so terrified in my life. I was trying to help you. By leaving me, by going back to the woman who nearly killed you." His voice cracked. "How did you think that would help me?" At the hospital, the doctors checked me over. More bruises, nothing broken this time. Jihoon sat beside my bed holding my hand, refusing to leave even when the nurses told him to wait outside. After everyone had left and it was just us, he finally spoke. "I need to tell you something," he said. "Something I should have told you a long time ago." "Okay. 5 years ago, I had a younger sister, Minji. She was 17, beautiful, full of life. She started dating one of my business associate's sons. I was so busy building the company, traveling constantly, that I didn't notice what was happening. He was abusing her, beating her, controlling her. She tried to tell me a few times, but I was always too busy to really listen." His voice broke and tears started falling down his face. One night it went too far. He put her in the hospital. She died 2 days later from her injuries. I wasn't there. I was in Tokyo closing a deal. I didn't even know she was in the hospital until it was too late. "Jihoon," I whispered, squeezing his hand. I swore after that I'd never ignore someone in trouble again. I'd never be too busy or too important to help. When I saw you that night in the rain, I saw Minji. I saw someone who needed help and I wouldn't look away. He looked at me with red eyes. "But it's not just guilt anymore, Zara. Somewhere along the way, I fell completely in love with you. The real you. Your strength, your kindness, your courage. I need you to understand that." I reached up to wipe his tears. "I fell in love with you too. That first morning after the accident, when you made me breakfast and listened to my story without judgment, I started falling then. I just didn't think I deserved you. You deserve everything." He leaned down and kissed my forehead. "And I'm going to spend every day proving that to you." The next morning, Jihoon's father showed up at the hospital. He was an older version of Jihoon, distinguished and cold. He barely looked at me. "Get dressed," he said to Jihoon. "There's an emergency board meeting in 2 hours. They're voting you out. Let them vote. Don't be a fool. Everything you've built means nothing without her," Jihoon said firmly. "I've made my choice, father. You can accept it or not, but it's done." His father's jaw clenched. "Your brother has the votes. He's been planning this for months. He'll take over the company. Then he can have it." I grabbed Jihoon's hand. No, you're not throwing away your life's work because of me. We'll figure something else out. There is nothing to figure out. You're more important. His father made a sound of disgust. This is pathetic. You're destroying everything for some girl. Careful, Jihoon said, his voice deadly quiet. Be very careful how you finish that sentence. I stood up from the hospital bed, despite the pain. Mr. Kang, I understand you don't approve of me. I understand I'm not what you wanted for your son. But Jihoon has worked too hard to lose his company. So I'm asking you, please, is there anything I can do to make this right? He looked at me for the first time. You could leave. Father, Jihoon started. No, let him finish, I said. You could leave Seattle. Go somewhere far away. Never contact Jihoon again. I'll pay you whatever you want. Name your price. I looked him in the eyes. There isn't enough money in the world because I love your son. And even if he loses everything, even if we have to start over with nothing, I'm not leaving him. You taught him to build empires, but you never taught him what matters more than empires. People, love, someone to build all that success for. I stepped closer. So if you're going to take his company, take it. But you're not taking me away from him. That's not happening. Something flickered in his father's eyes. Surprise, maybe. Respect. The meeting is at 10, he said finally. I'll see you there. He left, and Jihoon pulled me into his arms. That was incredibly brave and incredibly stupid, he said. Well, I learned from the best. The board meeting was a war zone. Jihoon walked in holding my hand, making it clear exactly where he stood. His brother, a slick corporate type named Kang Minho, sat at the head of the table with a satisfied smirk. Nice of you to join us, little brother. And you brought your pet project. Call her that again, and board meeting or not. I'll break your jaw, Jihoon said calmly, taking his seat. The meeting started. Minho laid out his case. The scandal, the negative press, the board's loss of confidence in Jihoon's leadership. Vote after vote went against Jihoon. I sat there watching his empire crumble and felt sick. Then something unexpected happened. I stood up. Excuse me, I said. I know I'm not supposed to speak here, but I have information the board needs to hear. Minho laughed. This should be entertaining. I pulled out my phone and connected it to the conference room display. For the past 3 weeks, I've been doing some digging. See, when Yuna Park leaked those stories about Jihoon and me, I got curious about why she cared so much. So I started looking into her company's dealings with KJ Global. I pulled up documents on the screen, bank transfers, emails, contracts. What I found was interesting. Yuna's company and Minho have been working together for 6 months. They've been siphoning money from KJ Global through fake vendor contracts, $20 million so far. And they were planning to force Jihoon out, install Minho as CEO, and merge the companies, making themselves very rich in the process. The room erupted. Minho's face went white. That's a lie. She's making this up to save her boyfriend. I have the emails, I said calmly. I have the bank records. I have everything. Because while everyone assumed I was just Jihoon's pretty assistant, I was actually doing my job. And my job includes protecting this company and the man who runs it. Jihoon was staring at me with complete shock. I looked directly at Minho. You made a mistake underestimating me because of where I came from. You all did. But I learned a long time ago that survival means being smarter than the people trying to hurt you. So yeah, I come from nothing. I have bruises and scars and a mother in jail. But I also have a brain. I have skills. And I have evidence that's already been sent to the authorities. The chairman of the board cleared his throat. Mr. Minho Kong, you're hereby removed from this board and terminated from the company effective immediately. Security will escort you out. As for this vote of no confidence in Jihoon Kong, I move to dismiss it entirely. The vote was unanimous. After the meeting, Jihoon pulled me into his office and just held me. How did you do that? He asked. When did you do that? Late nights when you thought I was working on normal stuff. I had a feeling something wasn't right. The way your brother looked at you, the way Yuna was so confident. So I started digging. You saved everything. The company, my position, everything. No, I said softly. I saved us because you were willing to give it all up for me, and I couldn't let that happen. He kissed me then, deep and long and full of promise. His father found us an hour later. Miss Williams, he said formally, I owe you an apology and my gratitude. What you did today, not many people would have had the intelligence or courage. I was just protecting what matters. He almost smiled. My son chose well. I was wrong about you. I hope you can forgive an old man's prejudice. As long as you accept that I'm not going anywhere. I'm beginning to think that's exactly what this family needs. Someone who refuses to go anywhere. He turned to Jihoon. Your mother wants to meet her. Sunday dinner. Don't be late. 6 months later, everything had changed. I'd started a foundation for domestic abuse survivors with Jihoon's support and funding. We'd helped 60 women escape dangerous situations and get back on their feet. My mother was in prison serving 5 years, and I'd started therapy to process everything I'd been through. Jihoon and I had moved past the awkwardness of boss and employee by having me officially transfer to running the foundation full-time. We lived together now, openly, and the press had finally moved on to other scandals. His family had come around. His mother especially loved me, constantly inviting me to family dinners and treating me like the daughter she never had. I was happy, genuinely and completely happy. On a Thursday evening, Jihoon told me he had a surprise and to meet him on the roof of his building. The same roof where we'd had our first coffee together, as boss and assistant, back when I was terrified and broken, and he was this intimidating stranger who'd accidentally hit me with his car. I took the elevator up and found the roof transformed. Lights everywhere, flowers, candles. And Jihoon, standing in the middle of it all, in a suit, looking nervous for the first time since I'd known him. Zara, he said as I walked toward him. 6 months ago, you ran into my car in the rain, literally. And my first thought was about how much the repairs would cost. I laughed, tears already starting. My second thought, when I really saw you, was that I was looking at someone who needed help, someone I couldn't ignore. I thought I was saving you that night. He took my hands. But the truth is, you saved me. You saved me from becoming someone so focused on success that I forgot what success was for. You taught me about real strength, real courage. You taught me that love isn't convenient or easy, but it's worth everything. He got down on one knee and pulled out a ring that sparkled in the candlelight. Zara Williams, will you marry me? I was crying too hard to speak, so I just nodded. He slid the ring onto my finger and stood up, pulling me into his arms. I love you, I managed to say. I love you so much. I love you too, forever. We stood there on that roof, holding each other as the sun set over Seattle. And I thought about that terrified girl who'd run into the rain 6 months ago. She'd thought her story was ending that night. She had no idea it was just beginning. Sometimes the worst moments of our lives lead us exactly where we need to be. Sometimes running away is actually running towards something. And sometimes the person who hits you with their car in the rain turns out to be the person who teaches you that you were never broken. You were always whole, just waiting for someone to see you clearly. 3 months later, we got married in a small ceremony with just family and close friends. I wore white and felt beautiful, something I never thought I'd feel. Jihoon cried when I walked down the aisle. His father gave a speech about how wrong he'd been and how grateful he was that I hadn't listened when he tried to pay me off. My foundation had grown to helping over 100 women. I spoke at events, sharing my story, showing other survivors that escape was possible, that healing was possible, that love after trauma was possible. Jihoon and I work together sometimes, brainstorming ways to expand the foundation's reach. But mostly, we just built a real life, full of quiet mornings and inside jokes and plans for the future. 1 year after that rainy night, we stood in the same spot where we'd first collided. Jihoon had arranged for a memorial bench to be installed there with a plaque that read, "Where endings become beginnings." "Do you ever think about what would have happened if I'd seen your car in time?" I asked him. "If I'd stopped before running into the street?" "Every day," he admitted. "And every day I'm grateful you didn't." "That's a terrible thing to say," I laughed. "Maybe, but it's true. That collision brought you into my life, and you're the best thing that's ever happened to me." I leaned into him, watching cars drive by, watching people hurry through the rain just like I had that night. "I used to think I was cursed," I said quietly, "like I was meant to suffer forever. But I wasn't cursed. I was just waiting for the exact right moment, the exact right person, the exact right collision." "We saved each other," Jihoon said. "Yeah," I agreed. "We really did." And somewhere in the city, another person was probably running through the rain right now, scared and hurt, and thinking their story was over. I hoped they'd find their collision too. Their moment, their person. Because if I learned anything from running into Kang Jihoon's car on that terrible, beautiful night, it's that sometimes the worst thing that ever happened to you and the best thing that ever happened to you are the exact same moment. You just have to survive long enough to see which one it becomes. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment telling me what moment made you cry or what you loved most about Zara and Jihoon's journey. And remember, no matter what you're going through right now, your story isn't over. Your collision, your moment, your miracle might be just around the corner. See you in the next story.